Hello, Chaotic Doc here. Welcome back for another Legacy video. Today we're hopping back into a league with a classic Legacy deck of Reanimator. Alright, so we've been playing some jankier decks today. I want to play something a little bit more refined, I would say. Alright, so let's take a look at what we have. So we're running only 14 lands. We're making up for that with 4 Lotus Petals and 4 Dark Rituals for that extra mana boost at the beginning. Then we have 4 Entombs, so it lets you search your library for a card, put that card into your graveyard and shuffle. And 4 Faithless Looting. Draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, and it has flashback for 3 mana. Those are our two main ways of getting our cards into the graveyard. And what we're trying to put into the graveyard is Griselbrand, right? 7/7 flying lifelink, pay 7 life, draw 7 cards. Archon of Cruelty, 6/6 when it enters the battlefield or attacks, target player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker, discards a card, loses 3 lives, and then I draw a card and gain 3 life. Absurd trigger to get. Love it. And then Serra's Emissary, which gives protection from a card type of our choice. All right. Then we have, as a little backup plan, we have Grief that we can use to check our opponent's hand for thoughts, or not for Thoughtseizes. We have Grief that allows us to check our opponent's hand for Force of Wills, Dazes. Same thing with Unmask, right? We can pitch a black card and play it, and it's just a Thoughtseize basically without the life loss. Then we have 2 Thoughtseize as well, and then the way we bring our cards back is we have 4 Animate Dead, 4 Exhumes, and 4 Reanimates, right? So we have the ability to turn one with Dark Rituals, with Lotus Petals, and like Reanimate, Entomb, Reanimate, Faithless Looting. Even with a Dark Ritual, we can go Animate Dead, Exhume, and Reanimate. Or sorry, Animate Dead, Exhume, or Entomb. All right. Then let's take a look at the sideboard. In the sideboard, we have Wear and Tear. So we have Wear and Tear and Serenity. These are coming in to stop graveyard hate. So we're probably boarding this in every match, no matter what, because if our opponent's playing non-spell based graveyard hate, if they're playing Leyline of the Void, if they're playing other stuff, these answer those cards. I'm trying to remember the name of the artifact, but I can't. Alright, we also have an extra Thoughtseize. We have Fairy Macabre and Dothy Voidwalker for if we're playing against graveyard decks, and we have a Magus of the Moon for lands. Right? And we can fetch Swamps if necessary, or if we're doing Magus. So I'm actually very excited for this deck. I've been looking to play something a little bit more tuned, more competitive. So let's go into the league. I think this should be a pretty quick one based on how Reanimator tends to go. See you there. All right, we are actually on the draw here. So we have 2 Animate Deads. We don't have anything to actually get into the graveyard, so we have to mulligan this. Our opponent also mulliganed. This is no reanimation spell, right? So we can get things into the graveyard. We don't have a way to reanimate them. So I think I'm willing to go to 5. Take a look. We'll keep this. We'll just put back land. And this is something that we can hopefully draw into a way, right? Like if we draw Thoughtseize, any like Entomb or Faithless Looting, we can get something into the graveyard. So I'm happy with this overall. He'll play Marsh Flats Return to try to hide whatever we're on. Alright, so our opponent plays Ancient or Urza Saga to start, which means they're probably I would assume an artifact deck or a prison deck running Ancient Tomb. This makes me think we're on 8 casts currently, right? Like when you see Urza Saga turn 1, you normally are looking for well, that's quite bad for us. Like they play Aether Spellbomb, which means they can bounce our creature that we get into play. So now you get 2 ways to get a creature in. If we draw Faithless Looting right now, that'd be good. We don't. Alright, we'll just pass like this then. So what I'm expecting to see from an opponent, I was previously expecting they would play Ancient Tomb on this turn because they had done Urza Saga to start. But now that they have Mox Opal, it's possible they just play a land and then they have the ability to make constructs. Okay, they go for another Mishra's Bauble. So the Marsh Flats means they can't tell for sure we're on. They know we're on a black-white deck of some kind. But normally, if you're thinking Reanimator, you're looking at the kind of Rakdos style. So the white is only really used for fetching Scrub land in game 2. Also, Serenity, 100% coming in. Just like destroying our opponent. Wear and Tear Serenity, easy in. They actually use the Aether Spellbomb to draw a card though, so that's very good for us. Unless they have like Emery, which it doesn't look like they do. Looks like they didn't have that land, so they're not making a construct token here. Okay, we have Animate Dead. That doesn't really help us yet. When Urza Saga goes off, we do have to crack Marsh Flats in response, just in case they're grabbing Pithy. They can grab Pithy Needle and shut us down on a land. So we see this trigger on the stack. So wait, did I just pass, or is it being put on the stack currently? Okay, and yeah, they float mana, we'll crack Marsh Flats. And let's just grab a Scrubland. I guess we don't need Scrubland, we can grab Badlands. Yeah, we'll grab Badlands. Right, that flashes back. if they are running like Wasteland or something that flashes back Faithless Looting if we hit it, if in case they waste one, or let's just play a Faithless Looting. Scrublands wouldn't. Let's see what they get here. The question is, like, do they recognize that we're on Reanimator? They grab Shadow Spear, so they didn't think of us as being on Reanimator, and then we get to see if they have anything they can play here, right? They have 2 mana available. Okay, here goes the Thought Cast. So that's what we thought they were on. We thought they were on 8 cast. And it looks like they didn't hit the land still. Unless they just want to go second main. No? Okay. Yeah, it looks like we have time, so I'm not gonna play it at the slowest pedal because at this point even a slow discard is something that we don't, because we don't have a way to get something into our graveyard yet. See with the Synod, that's a good one for them. That's 2 mana effectively for their like Thought Monitor's casts. Looks like Chalice on 1. That's bad because Reanimate, but an Animate Dead will get around that, so that's not too big of an issue. It looks like they're just passing after that. Interesting. It looks like they're on a bit of a slower hand. We're not going to play that because if we don't draw a card next turn, that allows us to put something into the graveyard, it's better to just discard to hand size. Right? Like, we can hold Bloodstained Mire this turn. Then if we either draw Faithless Looting or Entomb, and then, oh, not Entomb. Yeah, we need to discard a hand size now because Faithless Looting is shut down, and so is Entomb, and even Thoughtseize, right? So, like, the only things that would allow us to discard at this point are other. The only thing that lets us discard to hands to one of our fatties is our like free discard effect. Wow, sorry, my mind is shutting down. One moment. All right, so we're looking to draw Unmask or discard to hand size, and then when we're on the play in our next round, we're looking at maybe bringing in Iona because that helps us out with all their blue spells. But I think probably just Serra's Emissary protection from artifacts might be more important. Like, that stops their size, it stops their Kappa Cannoneers. It basically shuts down anything they do that can actually deal damage to us and allows us to just keep hitting them. Okay, and then we will discard a Griselbrand to hand size. Okay, looks like they are choosing to bobble us so they can see what we have. Yeah, we'll discard Griselbrand to hand size. And then next turn we have the ability to try for Animate Dead, but I'm thinking they probably have Force of Will at this point because we haven't really cast a spell yet. Griselbrand in the graveyard. Right, they're gonna go up to 6 cards this turn. They can get up to 7. They can start replaying Aether Spell Bombs with Emery. And they put us to 13, so when we play Griselbrand, we'll only get 1 bounce, and then they'll be able to deal 5, put us to 2. So that's going to make our Exhumes become a lot more important. So basically what we need to do is we need to play Griselbrand for turn. On our turn, we need to Animate Dead Griselbrand, draw 7, and then be able to discard stuff. That's an issue. Alright, so now they're going to have a bunch of 1/1s. So the issue now is that Emery can replay Aether Spellbomb and then bounce Griselbrand. It looks like they're playing Kappa Cannoneer this turn, so they're setting up for lethal on the next turn. That's probably a better play. Right, and the next turn what they can do is they can play Aether Spellbomb, activate bounce Griselbrand if we reanimate it. Or we animate dead it, and then they have lethal on board, plus we're gonna die. Yeah, it's looking mighty bad. Luckily, we have pretty good sideboard tools here, right? In the form of Wear and Tear and Reanimate. Or sorry, Wear and Tear and Serenities. Hell, even Magus of the Moon kind of shuts down their land base here. They don't run. I think they run maybe 2 basic lands, 2 basic islands in this deck, normally. They're choosing to attack with Thought Monitor. Those are safe attacks. I go to 14 here. Right, so what we will do is we will go for the Animate Dead Griselbrand, which I assume probably eats a counterspell. But then that allows us to... Ooh, wait. Okay, so we can unmask them to start. This will at least give us a little bit more information. Now, there was an argument that what we should do is unmask ourselves, pitch Archon of Cruelty, bring back Archon of Cruelty and Griselbrand, if we can. But also, taking out Force of Will is more important, probably. We go Force of Will, Animate Dead, gain back Griselbrand. Okay, and then we need to draw 7 immediately. Draw 7, and then we need to be able to kind of win this turn. We can then Thoughtseize ourselves, get an Archon to play. No, we don't have enough mana. Oh, we do if we... No, we can't reanimate Archon, because then we die. We go Bloodstained Mire, Lotus Petal. We can go to 1 life. Right, we can pay 7, go to 1. Then we can't fetch. We can grief them. That doesn't do anything. Thoughtseize ourself means we die, so let's try to draw 7, see if there's any possible out, but I think we've lost this one. Interesting. So we can go. We need another unmask, really. Right. So we can't Dark Ritual because of Chalice. We can't Thoughtseize ourselves because of Chalice, even though I was previously trying to think of a Thoughtseize line. So it looks like we have died. Concede. Alright, so let's begin sideboard. We know what we're bringing in. Alright, coming in is Wear and Tears and Serenities. Right. And we're looking to really go hard on Serra's Emissary, so I'm thinking of even cutting some of our other these guys. But let's start with the Griefs out because we don't need that discard. And maybe one Lotus Petal, one Exhume, I think. Right, we're bringing enough. And then we need our Graveyard Hate to kind of carry us through. So let's run it like that. Our Graveyard Hate. Alright, on the play, this has an answer to their Graveyard Hate. It has an answer. It has Faithless Looting to find us whatever we need. I think I'm willing to keep this, actually. Which seems like kind of stupid at first, but like the fact that we have Wear and Tear here to destroy Graveyard Hate for them, or even like if they go Urza Saga, I might tear it. And we have Faithless Looting to filter it as needed. Yeah. So I think what we do is we start on Swamp, and then we get Entomb. And then next turn we can figure out what we need for answers. Like we can figure out how we need to use Wear and Tear versus how we need to Faithless Looting. And I'm going to grab Serra's Emissary into the graveyard here. They play Urza's Bauble, so they've turned on Mox Opal, they have Seat of the Synod. Let's see if they have Graveyard Hate. Unlicensed Hearse. Wow, that's okay, we will not Entomb then, right? That's a good Wear and Tear target though. And we're looking to get Serra's Emissary out to get protection from artifacts more than anything. Oh, we'll see. Alright, and we'll grab a Badlands here. We need the red, and we'll just pass. Okay, and then we can see what they do. If they crack Urza's Bauble, I was going to say then we destroy the Hearse now so they lose their Mox Opal activation. Alright, in the opponent's main phase, let's see what they have for us. Now, there was an argument that we should have mulliganed pretty heavily for Serenity, considering this is an artifact deck, and like Serenity will destroy their entire board. But we'll have to see. Okay, they play Urza Saga for turn, that's fine. Alright, we're going to get to their end step, at which point we will destroy the artifact. Ooh. You can fuse this, interesting. No, I think we gotta just wear it. As like, if we fuse, we could take out the Urza Saga and the Unlicensed Hearse, but like, draw and Reanimate here is better. If they choose to, like, we draw Reanimate and we have Faithless Looting and Entomb, we can just get whatever we need. I think it's better to destroy that now. Thoughtseize. Let's Thoughtseize them, actually. As like, we Thoughtseize ourselves to pitch Archon of Cruelty. We can already pitch Archon of Cruelty. Kappa Cannoneer is out of there. Alright, let's go for Faithless Looting because we're looking for a reanimation spell. Alright, Serra's Emissary, Archon into the bin. Do we want to hold up one of these in case they have more Graveyard Hate? No, I think because we have Entombs, it's fine to pitch both for now. And next turn, we will continue to Faithless Looting looking for our spells. Looking for our reanimation spells. And again, the goal here is get Serra's Emissary, protection of artifacts. Okay, they have Urza's Saga. And again, we know that they have a Seat of the Synod and a Lotus Petal in hand. They're activating Urza's Saga in their main phase. Interesting. Do they have, like, if they have Thoughtcast for turn, then they can, that discounts Thoughtcast by 1. Right, so to see the Synod, they would have 5, 6, so they can Thoughtcast here with the Lotus Petal once they play Lotus Petal. Looks like it's not what's happening, but okay. It's interesting to me that they made that construct token at that timing. Marsh Flats. Okay, let's start with Faithless Looting again. Dark Ritual. Okay, let's pitch 1 Entomb. What we're gonna do is we're gonna Faithless Looting again off another Badlands. Faithless Looting. Let's go Griselbrand. Dark Rit for now. We'll keep Wear and Tear back. Yeah, we'll keep Wear and Tear for as needed. And again, at this point, we're going to start flashing back Faithless Lootings as well. We can use Wear and Tear to destroy a construct token and save us some life in the future. We choose to Bauble us. Seeing Wear and Tear. Okay. Now they can make their construct into a 7/7, which means we'll go to 9. And then we have to deal with the idea of, do we want to Wear and Tear a construct which keeps us alive for an extra turn? We want Faithless Looting trying to get that reanimation spell. That's tempting. That's a hard question, actually. It looks like they're considering not making a construct. No, they're making it. I was gonna say if they don't make a construct, then what we do is we wear and tear 100% of the time because it removes their threats. But I assume they have to make that extra construct, really. Okay, so these are 6/6s, and they'll grab an artifact. This could be an extra piece of graveyard hate, probably, I would assume. In which case, wear and tear might have to point at that if we draw some sort of reanimation spell. That actually would have been a good reason to not keep Entomb, but to actually keep, Soulguide Lantern. Okay. So I wonder, do they... So we take 7, go to 9 here. They get rid of Griselbrand here. Fine. Like, if we get rid of this, then we just die on our next turn. Ooh. So we'll go to 9 here, then they have lethal on board. They have the ability to exile our graveyard at instant speed, which is a different issue entirely. Up from Soulguide Lantern. Maybe Serenity was the correct choice, right? Like, Serenity clears almost their entire board here. Okay, let's see what we draw. Griselbrand. Okay, we will destroy a construct. That's destroyed a construct, right? That shrinks the other one to a 6/6. This keeps us alive for a turn unless they have a counterspell. They have Force Negation, and that is us dead. Alright. You know what? I'm not disappointed with that. That's kind of how it goes on match 2. Alright, we're on for match 2 with a perfect hand. So we can unmask them to protect our Entomb and our Archon. Our Entomb and our Animate Dead. So we're going to keep this. And we will start by turn 1 unmask to protect Entomb. Turn 2 we will go Animate Dead. We're just hoping to see a non-blue deck on the other side of the table here. Looks like they did mulligan to 6, which helps us out with the unmask plan as well. Ooh, their opponent's on lands most likely. That's good for us. So what we're looking to see then is, really we're looking to see that they don't have a Bajuka Bog that they can play. Minsk and Boo, oh, this is a very different deck than I expected. So they can currently go, they can play Minsk and Boo on their turn. So we can take Minsk and Boo, they can Fury, that doesn't matter as much. So let's take Minsk and Boo Timeless Heroes here. So this is not lands, this is a prison deck or like mono red aggro type thing, or not mono red, but Minsk and Boo deck. And this just gives us Entomb, Animate Dead. And we will grab Griselbrand. Fable the Mirror Breaker, that's fine. I don't think that beats a Griselbrand. Right, end step Entomb. And this needs to grab Griselbrand. Where is he? There's my boy. Hey. Ooh, we have another Unmask. I think we will probably use that, but let's get Griselbrand first. Draw our 7. And there's probably that wants to grab Badlands. Let's just grab that second Swamp because we know they have the Blood Moon in hand. Okay, Griselbrand coming in. Let's see if they concede to this. Okay, it looks like it will come in. We'll start off by drawing 7. See what we get. We have a Dark Ritual. We have Faithless Looting, Archon. Few Unmask. So we can actually like pretty much destroy their hand here. Let's start by doing that. We don't need that second Griselbrand. We can take Blood Moon. We can take Fury. Let's start by taking Fury just in case it's important. Then we'll go same thing again. We'll take Blood Moon this time. Let's actually draw another 7, honestly. We're kind of looking for Lotus Petal. We did get it. This allows us to... Well, it looks like what we'll probably do here is just discard our hand. Or discard to hand size. Sure. And we have Griselbrand here to attack. Block is necessary. We'll discard Emissary, Archon of Cruelty, Grief. Yeah, well, Thoughtseize. We don't need Thoughtseize. Don't need that other Unmask because we check their hand and we can drop a Faithless Looting. And this allows us to Exhume, get back a Archon. They can get back a Fury, but then that Fury dies to the Grief or the Archon trigger. The opponent has a Fable the Mirror Breaker trigger on the stack that they're resolving right now. Choose to keep their hand. Interesting. I would have expected a discard of that Simian Spirit Guide, honestly. Oh, it looks like this is another Minsk and Boo. So, I don't know. Minsk and Boo doesn't do too much here. Like, they can make a 1/1 every turn and make it bigger, but they can't actually get through Griselbrand. We can kill the Minsk and Boo here pretty easily. I think what we do is we will kill Minsk and Boo. Yeah, so what we'll do is let's start with Exhume, getting back Archon of Cruelty. Or we can do Serra's Emissary, just get protection from creatures. No, let's get Archon. Right, we get Archon, they get back a Fury, doesn't matter because the Fury will die. Something, well, probably Goblin Shaman token dies here. They choose to deal 4 damage to Griselbrand. They'll sack something. Ooh, that's a good one. So now we go to combat. I'm going to kill Minsk and Boo to start off. Okay, kill Minsk and Boo. We can draw some cards here. We can entomb in another Archon of Cruelty and then exhume it back. We don't have. We need to get an exhume though. Let's start with Badlands here, and let's go with a Faithless Looting. Thoughtseize Dark Ritual. Thoughtseize land can go. If I want to draw 7, I think I do. Well, they have 6 damage on board. Sorry, they have 10 damage on board. So if they have, if they draw Minsk and Boo, okay, let's look at right now. Right now, if they draw Minsk and Boo, we need to sack. We need to lose our Archon to kill Fury. That's fine, actually. Let's just pass like this. I don't want to draw and loot and die because of it. Ooh, they can copy Fury. It doesn't kill anything, but it allows their like Minsk and Boo or whatever attacker they have to kill Fury. Interesting. Oh, they can't copy yet. That's right. And they pack it up. Okay, let's see what we have for this list. Obviously, Magus and Moon doesn't really do it, considering that's what they have answers. We'll probably bring in Serenity, just depending on, we don't know what their answers are, and we need to bring in Wear and Tears. Right, this is what we do. We just bring in answers. Let's bring in a Thoughtseize as well. No, let's not do that, actually. What's coming out? Probably Serra's Emissary. It doesn't really answer, like, what it can do is it can answer a Minsk and Boo, but only on the creature side, or it can answer the Planeswalker side, because, like, the damage, I believe, is dealt by the Planeswalker from the minus ability. So they can just make a really big creature and then sack any kills with that. So that's going to go. I'm thinking Griefs are probably going. Right, like, I always cut Griefs. I don't know if that's correct. Someone can yell at me. And let's go 1 Dark Writ. Oh, we need 1 more card. 1 Thoughtseize. Right, like, we're not checking. We don't really need to check their hand for counter spells as much as we would against a blue deck. I'm happy with this sideboarding. Yeah, turn 1 Griselbrand. Seems great. Hey, let's see what they have. If they have Leyline, then we just make it a turn 2 Griselbrand. That's fine. What we should do is we should, it'd be very cool to draw our Dark Writ. We have a Reanimator, we don't have Dark Writ. That's fine. Let's go Lotus Petal in case they play like a Trinisphere or something. We want that out now. And then this is an instant. Alright. We'll go Marsh Flats, pass, and then on their end step we will get rid of the Leyline and then possibly even Entomb. No, we don't need Entomb. We don't need to use the Lotus Petal yet. We'll see what they go for. Okay, 4 mana. Karn's a great creator. Interesting. That's bad for us, but in a way that doesn't particularly matter. Interestingly. Let's grab, use white here. Destroy that. I fetch, you can't tell I fetched the wrong land because I was concerned about Blood Moon. Alright, that's gone. Leyline's gone, and now we have the ability to go Entomb Reanimate on our turn. Get a Griselbrand. It's interesting that this deck is running Karn as well as Minsk and Boo, considering the mana requirements are so separate, different. I guess anything that casts Minsk and Boo also casts Karn, but I do wonder how the mana requirements of this deck are stacking up. Alright, let's go Entomb Griselbrand. This one will get Badlands. Entomb. This will be a Griselbrand, and then we will reanimate it. And Griselbrand on the stack. Or reanimate on the stack. Let's see what our opponent's going to do now. I don't want to draw yet. I will draw if necessary, but our goal is to kill Karn on our next turn. And we run into issues of low life totals if they have something like Minsk and Boo, or I'm trying to think what direct damage spell they could have, and I don't really know one, but I'm still concerned. I think what we're about to see here is a Minsk and Boo, though. And I am going to take a turn here to kill Karn, because if they have Mycosynth Lattice, another Ancient Tomb casts it next turn, and that becomes a new issue. Or like, we're still winning the race if they spend a turn for Mycosynth Lattice. But I don't want to let them have that option. Looks like they're activating minusing Karn. I wonder what they're grabbing here. Oh, they're grabbing Ensnaring Bridge. Ooh. What we're going to do is we're going to draw 7 looking for one of our answers to Ensnaring Bridge now. Because that has just become a new issue. None of those are it, but what we can do now is Faithless Looting away Archon. Exhume Archon. Right, and then we can, that gives a little bit of a card draw. Okay, so Archon's going to go away, so will a Reanimate, because we know that that will kill us. So Dark Writ, Exhume. We could have Entombed Exhume, get protection from artifacts. That might have been a better play. Mindbreak Trap. Interesting. Okay, that'll get rid of the Exhume. And we will Entomb for Serra's Emissary here. Oh wait, we cut Serra's Emissary because we didn't think they would have those things. Well, let's just get another Archon in the bin. And we will start with a Grief now, which we probably should have done previously, obviously. Right, Grief. This order doesn't really matter too much to me. Now, if they have Ancient Tomb in hand, we have an issue. Ooh. Good thing we took that away. Alright. So again, them drawing Ancient Tomb eventually gets them to we're gonna start Faithless Looting. Them going Ancient Tomb gets them to Mycosynth, which becomes a new issue. I know we grab Scrubland there instead of a not cast Faithless Looting, but it's important if we draw Serenity or Wear and Tear. Well, Serenity specifically. We are hoping for our Plusen Forest pass here, I guess. Ooh. There is the possibility they have the vehicle in their sideboard that just does 3 damage when it enters the battlefield. That'd be a new issue. So they play Plusen Forest for turn. Do they have a spell to go with it? And on our turn, we're looking at... Our goal is to get back Animate Dead Archon of Cruelty. That kills Karn, makes them discard whatever card they have left in hand. We are taking 2, so this could be Minsc and Boo. Ooh, this is Minsc and Boo. So this is also bad for us because this allows them to make a 4/4 this turn and then kills with Minsc and Boo activation next turn. Interesting. Right, so what they can do is they make this a 4/4 and then sack it on their turn. Let me take a look at Archon real quick. Just gotta check a thing. So this is target opponent sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. Right, so they make a 4/4. We can't kill the 4/4. So one thing here will survive. So if Minsc and Boo survives, so what they need to do is, I guess, sack. Let's start with a Faithless Looting, because if we get a Wear and Tear, we can attack Karn. Unmask does nothing here. Serenity has to get all the way to our turn, at which point they've already killed us. So we need to go Animate Dead Archon. Animate Dead, get back Archon of Cruelty. Okay. Now this kills something here. I assume, like, if they kill Karn, they have the ability to deal damage with Minsc and Boo still. If they don't kill Karn, they run into issues, right? So, like, if they kill Minsc and Boo, they lose Minsc and Boo or Boo, they lose that damage to kill us, but we're going up to 5 life anyways. Next turn we have Serenity to kill the... We can play a Serenity, but we can't actually activate it. Let's see what our opponent does here. Oh, they sacked the Boo. Interesting, to the Archon. I wouldn't have thought that to be the plan, but I guess that makes them have to wait a turn, not much longer. It's an interesting play. I like it. Alright. Blood Moon. That's an issue for us. Okay. So this should be Minsc and Boo make a 4/4. Yep. Now we don't have our basic... Oh, we do have a basic mountain. I was like, we don't have our basic. No, we do. So what gets us out of this? A series of Archon of Cruelties. That does not... I'm trying to think, like, is there anything we can reanimate to get out of this? So we can make it into... So if we reanimate something, we lose. What we'll do is we will Faithless Looting, flashback, Badlands and Tomb. Reanimate's gotta go, a Serenity can go. Right, we're never gonna be able to play our white mana spell. We don't have another Faithless Looting in the bin, do we? We do. It's like, they can't kill us this turn. That gives us 1 extra turn to Faithless Looting, at which point, if we draw Wear and Tear, we can destroy the Ensnaring Bridge, attack for lethal. That is the new plan. Right, this gives us quite a few looks at a Wear and Tear to win. Our opponent has... Ooh, they're going for 4 damage off the rip. So if they've drawn second Minsc and Boo, they win here. Or if they draw it off this Forge, because they get to draw 4 here. So if they get a Minsc and Boo here, they can win. No, they can't. That's interesting. Do they have Punishing Fire to kill us? Karn Search. What are they looking for? They are going for Lattice here. And they do have the mana for it. Okay. So Lattice, and then they can just, over time, uptick Minsc and Boos and win. That is an issue. Let's just see, make sure there's nothing we can draw. Nope. Right, we can play Badlands, it doesn't matter. So we have lost this one, we'll concede. We'll go for match 3. Right, we're looking... Now we know that they have Karn we were more interested in those things. Suddenly, Serra's Emissary is a little more interesting to me. I don't think it's interesting enough. Let's just run back like this. Let's take game 3 on the play here. Yes, we would like to play first. Thank you for asking. This goes turn 1. Yeah, keep this. Yeah, so this is like hard turn 1s. We go turn 1, grab a basic swamp. Oh no, if they get surrounded, we have a different issue though. Shoot. Sorry, they have Leyline, I mean. We forgot to mulligan. I got too excited. I was like, oh yeah, this is great. Turn 1, game 1 hand. This is not a game 3 hand first once the sideboard cards are in. Our opponent has mulligan to 5 cards and then stopped. Interesting. So let's grab basic swamp. So we know they could have Mindbreak Trap, right? Like Dark Writ, Entomb, Exhume dies to Mindbreak Trap, and then we can go Lotus Petal, Animate Dead. And we're gonna go for Griselbrand and Exhume. Let's see what our opponent has for this. Mindbreak Trap, okay. That's kind of what we expected. We'll go Lotus Petal, Animate Dead. Black, Animate Dead, Griselbrand. If they have another Mindbreak Trap, this is bad. Oh, they say lol, haha. Yeah, we use this really using every part of the Buffalo here. Get this guy into play. And it looks like it is coming into play. Let's start by drawing 7. Nothing here does anything. Alright, let's just pass. This we don't want to draw another 7 because that shuts down Reanimate. Next turn we have Faithless Looting into Reanimate with Dark Ritual. We can go Serenity if necessary. And they conceded actually to that. That makes sense, right? Like they had their hate piece, we just got past it. That makes sense. Yeah, that felt great. Let's go to the next match. See you there. Also, if you made it this far in the video, you've made it through 2 matches, maybe consider liking the video or subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. See you there. See you in the next match. Alright, on the draw for match 2, we have a way to get stuff into the graveyard. We don't have a way to actually play anything. We will mulligan this. We have 3 reanimation spells. We have Faithless Looting. Keep this, put back 1 card. Probably put back an Exhume here. We'll put back Exhume. We'll keep Animate Dead. We'll keep Grief to check their hand as necessary, and we'll go like that. This allows us to Faithless Looting, looking for a card to pitch into the graveyard. Okay, they go for a Flood Strain, so we're looking at a blue deck here. Right, so that means we are going to need to check for counter spells before we go off. Or honestly, just shove Animate Dead. Like at some point, just your ability to have a bunch of mana wins. I think I'm willing to pitch Reanimate here to grief them, because we know that we're going to be able to cast things turn 2 off our Animate Deads. EI Ponder Wasteland. Let's take EI. Wasteland's an issue, but I think we can play around it just fine. Yeah, let's pitch Marsh Flats. This will keep us with land in hand as well as 2 Animate Deads as necessary. I'm expecting to see Wasteland here, honestly. Okay, our opponent ponders as we expected. Right, so it's going to be 1 ponder out of their hand, and then I'm expecting Wasteland here. They could be playing a land and pondering again, but I would doubt it. Yep, there's the Wasteland. Crack it off now. Yep. That is basically exactly what we expected from our opponent here. They did not disappoint, and that is a perfect card for when we draw that second land. We're not going to crack yet. We will consider cracking the end step to use Entomb and put Griselbrand into play, or into the graveyard, I mean. Okay, ponder from our opponent. So they pondered. They have Tropical Island off Misty Rainforest, I believe. Then we're looking at Entomb on the end step. Another ponder. Okay. Saw this Wasteland actually. So the only thing we know about is the Trop Island. We're going to crack the fetch land and Entomb on the end step here. Like, it's just very good. We'll do it off a basic. It's just so good if we can get Griselbrand to play. Right, we have multiple attempts to get past their counter spells. Perfect. Just what we needed. I'm considering grabbing the second swamp here because if they have another Wasteland, it takes us off the second one. And target Griselbrand with Animate Dead. I'm expecting to see Force of Will. Yep. Alright, so that's the first Force of Will. We can just yield our turn, and then we can on our turn we can just Animate Dead again. Okay, they just passed back to us after playing a land. Ooh, Exhume now. Okay, let's start with Exhume, and then this will probably eat a counterspell again. I'm assuming like hard cast Force Negation. Endurance. That's even worse for us. Oh no. No, that's bad. Alright. I was hoping we would get hardcast Force Negation, then we could just try again, but it looks like that is not in the cards for us at the moment. We will get another chance, though. Hopefully. Right, and they go for Life from the Loam. Okay, see, so this is why we kept the double basics. The Life from the Loam would have taken us off. That Wasteland would have taken us off our lands. Now it won't. That combined with Brainstorm, that was a very good way to refill their hand if they have a fetched land here, which we know they have because they got one back. Okay, so we're looking at some sort of red Bant deck, I assume. Like this is Bant splashing EI. Yeah. If we're looking at a red Bant control list, we might also be looking at another Minsc and Blue list. Don't know for sure. Let's see, they are passing back. We have Unmask, pitching, Animate Dead. That's very bad. We'll just pass. So it's looking like we would need to draw a fatty and another black card so we can discard with Unmask, then use Animate Dead. That gives us 2 turns. In the meantime, we have to hope they don't find another Force of Will or another Endurance. So I think the odds there are not looking great in our favor, but I think it is possible. Right, and this also gives us a little bit more information about their deck list as we play. Like, will we see, like we know they have red because they have EI. Is it just EI and Pyroblast? Do they have, it's probably that, like, we're gonna hold on. We're gonna hold off on the Unmask because I think, like, unmasking them isn't worth it yet unless we draw, like, Entomb. And then if we draw Entomb, then we need to know. If we get Minsc and Boot here for that, then I'll be a little upset. Okay. Expressive Iteration, great card. A little annoyed about it. Some people think Expressive Iteration needs to be banned because it makes Murktide Regent, Delver too good. I'm not sure where I am on that train. Oh, okay. Wasteland, they have Prismatic Ending, that makes sense. We're playing everything with black cards. And they're just going to pass back to us. Here we have a Dark Writ, we can hard cast an Unmask on them? Sure. Just because, see if that gives us any information. They are choosing to Force Will the Unmask. Interesting. That makes me think they have second Endurance instead of like second Force. Okay. They'll come in again, hit us to 5 now. So they are going to win this game probably on Endurance beatdown, which is fine. We can bring in some stuff. Now, I think the graveyard hate for this deck is Endurance. So what we need to have, it's going to be Endurance and then probably some spells. I think what our answers to that is going to be, is we're not going to bring in the Serendities. We're just going to use our Griefs, our Unmask, we'll bring in an extra Thoughtseize, and we'll win like that, hopefully. This will put us to 3. So I think what we do here is we have to hope to draw an Entomb next turn, and then we can go Entomb, Animate Dead, possibly. If we play Scrubland now, it just gets Wastelanded though, so that doesn't help us. Second Endurance. So we had the read that they had a second Endurance. This also means we're just dead though. Concede. Alright. Sideboard time. So we know that a Thoughtseize is coming in. Dauthi Voidwalkers aren't doing much. We could bring in Magus in to punish their like kind of greedy mana base. Let's bring in one of those. And what's coming out? I think Serra's Emissary isn't too interesting. And then one Dark Ritual maybe? Like we can't cut any of our like hand hate and attack package here. So we're gonna just bring in a Thoughtseize and a Magus in. We want our discard suite in full. Okay, we would like to play first, yes. This goes nothing. We'll get this. This does nothing again. Go to 5. This, let's go to 4, honestly. Sure. This is one of those things where I think I tilted a little hard on my mulligans. We're gonna go to 3. Like 3 that can do anything is better than this. What does this do? This has Swamp, Animate Dead, Archon. So like, we need to keep the Swamp. We don't need Thoughtseize or Unmask. Our opponents went to 5. We'll see if they just have some other graveyard hate that we weren't expecting. Dark Writ's gotta go. I think we gotta do this because we can draw Thoughtseize. We can discard Archon. Our opponent didn't put in graveyard hate, but I wonder if they have just like the surgical extraction in hand. I think we'll have to see. We have Entomb. That's good for us. Now we're just looking to draw a land. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put in Griselbrand. There's probably that wants to Entomb non-Griselbrand, right? Like, because we want something that I assume they have surgical extraction, so they surgical it. I want them to only get like a 1-of here. Now it's got to be Griselbrand though. We don't have any 1-ofs, and if they take if they surgical in a different way, they can get Archon, Dark Writ, and let's try. I don't think this resolves, but we have to go for it. Yep, that's the Force of Will that we kind of expected they had, and then we'll pass. Right, so they forced pitching Brainstorm. Now if they get to Endurance, we have a new issue. Right, so after they play their land, they'll be able to hold up Endurance casting. Doing it now. Uro, okay. I was like, Endurance now seems incorrect. Okay, they take game 3, put in a Misty Rainforest from play. So now we're looking for Reanimate. Honestly, I think we do this now. So if we try Reanimate next turn, like this stops them from having a threat. Swords to Plowshares or Expressive Iteration. I think we take Expressive Iteration, and we accept that if we get a Griselbrand to play, they will Swords it, but that gives us 2 abilities to draw from it. Well, depending on how we reanimate it. Okay, that's another Uro. I was like, I swear to God, this is just Endurance. Or Expressive Iteration. Uro's fine. Again, they're getting their life total up. They get a land, which means they still have the Swords of Plowshares in hand. Entomb doesn't help us here. So we'll just wait. They are fetching. Ooh, this probably gets back Expressive Iteration, I would assume. Oh, never mind. They didn't have enough islands for the Mystic Sanctuary trigger. Faithless Looting doesn't help yet until we get another land. We're surprisingly not out of it. Opponent can play Uro. They didn't. Oh, maybe they don't have enough. Thoughtseize opponent. There's no way this eats Hardcast Force, does it? It does. That's fine. So that eats Hardcast Force of Will. And then we're still just drawing for our cards. Right? Like, that's probably why they didn't hardcast Uro. So now they can get Uro into play and we're on a clock. Yep, and they're leaving up Swords of Plowshares as well. That's Uro right there. Okay. Now we're hoping to see a land put into play, because if they don't, that means all their hand is gas. They do put a land in. Good for us. Now they've been able to cantrip a bit, find their stuff. We don't have the second land still, which is part of this deck. We aren't really cantripping as much. We could have fetched, or no, we did have a non-basic. Obviously, I got a little greedy on the mulligans there. Like, those first hands weren't doing anything. I felt like we really needed to get down quickly before they could set up with all their stuff. They were at 14. Ponder from the opponent. Good for them, bad for us. Okay, now let's see what we get. We're looking for a land. Not a land, we will Thoughtseize though. Fun fact. If they have a Force Will, they should just let this resolve instead of forcing it this time. If they think Force Will is the best card. Okay, Endurance is also a good one. The reason I say that is because letting us take the 2 damage puts their Uro as a 2-turn clock instead of a 3-turn clock. Swords, Minsc and Boo, Dress Down. Wow. Okay. Wow. So next turn we can Entomb. Right. We take 9, and so we take 9 this turn. Go to 5. We can Entomb. We can't draw Reanimate, so we need to draw land and Exhume. In which case we've already taken another too much damage, so we actually lose no matter what. We will concede. All right. That's fine. On to the next match. See you there. Alright, back for match 4. This is a turn 1 Griselbrand. We will keep this. Alright, so we can go Unmask, pitching Reanimate, or pitching Animate Dead. Discard, target ourselves, discard Griselbrand. Oh. Well, that just changes things. Let's see if there is a safer play. Well, you know what? We do have a safer play, which is that we play Animate Dead the turn after. We will fetch a basic Swamp for this. That way they can't wasteland it if this is Delver we're playing against. We're going to pitch the Reanimate because turn 2 Animate Dead seems fine. They have the Force for this. Interesting. Makes sense, and we will pass then. And what did they pitch with Force? Pitching Counterspell. Oh no, this is a deck that just runs Counterspell. Okay, they're fetching off the Scalding Tarn. I'm expecting Basic Island, Brainstorm. Brainstorm end of turn screams combo to me. Even though I do it constantly, but also I'm playing combo a lot. That screams combo. Now it screams Jeskai Control. Just some odd choices. I think it's just probably Jeskai Control now. We'll have to see. But they are fetching off the Flooded Strand. Game of Plains. So this is just like blue-white, maybe? Okay, this is a blue-white deck that's running a lot of basics, so it's probably running back to basics or something. Monastery Mentor. I've seen this deck before. Suddenly everything's coming back. We don't have a way to beat it yet, though. Let's play Marsh Flats. So again, this is going to be a heavy keep in our discard package. Like, this has to be a deck that has a lot of cantrips to selection to find their pieces, so discard becomes more important, especially considering, they're going to be running Monastery Mentor, so they have to have ways to find that and then to actually utilize its abilities. Okay, we'll take 3 here, I believe, going to 16. Looks like it. They aren't playing anything yet on their turn. But now they're holding up like Dovin's Veto. Yeah, well, oh, we got Thoughtseize ourselves here, actually. I was like, let's Thoughtseize them, see what they have. Thoughtseize ourselves. But this gives us, so we'll start with Animate Dead, I think. And then we can reanimate, depending on how we need to do this. We have the second basic swamp. The reason we want to do Animate Dead is because the life loss allows, the lack of life loss allows us to get the card draw. While with Reanimate, we have to not draw cards yet. I'm expecting Force of Will of some kind here. Yeah, so that's Force. Oh, it looks like they chose not to Force in the end. Interesting, interesting. And let's just draw 7 real quick. Right, because like Unmask is good here. Entomb, Reanimate. So let's start with... We're not going to be able to reanimate, so let's start with Grief, Pitching, Reanimate, actually. And this allows us, we have mana, we can Faithless Looting, look for another thing, look for Archon. Okay. Let's see what we have from the opponent's hand. I'm kind of expecting we see Swords to Plowshares targeting Griselbrand here. No. Okay, so they did have the Force of Will. We have Ponder and Predict. Let's take Force of Will. That gives us another chance to find another fatty. Now what we'll do is we'll start with a Faithless Looting here off Badlands. So we'll go Faithless Looting looking for Reanimation spell. All right, and then we have Exhume. So what we can do is we can go Lotus Petal, Dark Writ, and Entomb. So let's discard Reanimate and Badlands. Go Lotus Petal. I guess we don't need to do that second Lotus Petal yet. Right, like now they have Ponder and Predict, which don't answer the cards they need to answer well enough. Probably Dark Writ. They have no creatures in the graveyard. We have Grief, but we don't have Archon yet. Entomb first. Now they can predict at instant speed, right? This will be Archon of Cruelty into the graveyard. Exhume. Right, they should predict trying to mill something to draw into Force. They chose not to do that. We'll take Archon into play. This will make them discard one of their cards and then kill the token. Yep, and what is it they discarded? They discarded the Predict. That actually is interesting to me. Oh wait, we drew Entomb, we have 8 life. Let's play the Lotus Petal just in case we want to use Entomb on their turn, and we'll pass. But suddenly I'm feeling pretty good. Terminus on top. Wow. Oof. Yikes. That makes sense suddenly. Suddenly a lot of things make sense. Any order. And we'll put one of them. So at least that gets rid of the Monastery Mentor as well, but leaves one with Ponder in hand. I guess we probably should have Entombed in response to Ponder. Or I guess it's fine to not do that because we want to be able to have Faithless Looting up. Wow. What do we draw for turn? We drew a Lotus Petal. Let's start with a Faithless Looting. Grief and Unmask are useless to us. So is Lotus Petal, so let's keep this. Play Grief. No, let's flash back Faithless Looting, actually. Okay, and like this will be our plan now, is just flash back Faithless Looting until we find a Reanimate spell and a creature. Alright, looks like Grief, Griselbrand going to the graveyard. And we just have to hope our opponent doesn't draw something good enough yet. Alright, and opponent's draw for turn is... They're not showing it. So, that's so good. Alright, they don't have anything in the graveyard, we'll go for Exhume. Now they can counter this with like a counter spell, but it doesn't actually stop us because we have Animate Dead. And if this resolves, what we'll do is we'll go Entomb, Archon, Animate Dead that. That'd be Swords to Plowshares in hand. They're thinking on it, which astounds me, because I feel like if you have a counter spell that can take care of this, you have to counter it. Let's start with Entomb. Yeah, I'm supposed to draw actually, but I think let's go Entomb, Archon. I don't want to go down to 1. Black, and this will be reanimating Archon of Cruelty with Animate Dead. And that'll make our opponent discard their card. If they're going to show us that they have Swords to Plowshares in hand, they gotta do it now. And that'll give us time to draw. Interesting. Bounce spell? Snapcaster Mage. This has to be what? Snapcaster getting Brainstorm. Interesting. So they're looking for... Didn't they have Swords to Plowshares? No, they don't, actually. Oh, wow. So they have to look for a Swords to Plowshares here. If they don't get it, they lose their Snapcaster, so they have to discard whatever card they do draw. Draw 7. Right, this is fine to draw 7. The bad boy's gonna, we go up to 8 life, then we'll go up to 11 with the trigger here. And if we can draw a Dark Ritual, we can get back the, not the Griselbrand, but what do we have? So we can go, we have land drop for turn. I'm trying to just do some math. Let's go land drop, Lotus Petal. We can Faithless Looting. Let's pop out the graveyard real quick, because we have any creatures in here, it's fine. So just go for Animate Dead. We have Griefs, those aren't good enough. What we'll do is we'll, do we have a Badlands? We'll see if we have another Badlands here. We don't. We have Scrubland. So we will go red for Faithless Looting. Then we can go Dark Ritual, Animate Dead. Okay, Griselbrand, Archon are gone. Black mana. I mean, we can get back both. Let's start with Reanimate on Archon of Cruelty's 8 mana, Griselbrand's 8 mana. So we'll go to 2. So we'll get back Griselbrand here, and then we'll Animate Dead to get back the Archon of Cruelty. Right, and that puts us to 5, gets us another card, puts our opponent down even lower. Yeah, this feels very good. this feels almost like cheating. Our opponent was doing so well for a bit there. Right, and they concede to that because, you know, you kind of have to. So I was trying to find a Legacy Miracles deck list so I could actually figure out what we need to deal with for their sideboard. I can't really find anything, so what we're going to do is we're just going to bring in Serenities. We'll bring in Serenities, we'll bring in Thoughtseize because we know they're going to run Force of Wills. We'll remove... Serra's Emissary didn't seem particularly interesting to me. We remove a Lotus Petal. No, not a Lotus Petal. We're going to remove a Dark Ritual, and then 1 Archon maybe? I don't know, because I don't know if Serenity's good, but I'm very careful about not bringing in Serenities, because when I played that Dredge deck list that didn't really go well, not bringing in Graveyard Hate Graveyard Hate was always such a big issue. Like, you just have to assume they have Graveyard Hate, and then on game 3 you can start fine-tuning what Graveyard Hate you're bringing in. Alright, let's remove 1 Dark Ritual and 1 Lotus Petal. Let's see. So, our opponent will be mulliganing first, so we can see if it looks like they're mulliganing for like a Leyline of the Void. I mean, keep this, right? They mulligan to 6 though. Keep this, right? Like, eventually we can draw necessary card. We have Entomb, we have Thoughtseize, so we can actually go Thoughtseize on them turn 1 because we won't be able to play Animate Dead necessarily turn 2 anyways. Interesting. And second Entomb. Actually, what we'll do is we'll Entomb on their end step. Well, if we Entomb on their end step and then they have Surgical Extraction, it's quite bad for us. I think what we will do here is we'll Thoughtseize them. Right, Thoughtseize the opponent. Let's see what they have for us. They Force of Will that actually, so I do think they're holding Surgical Extraction. They play Plains and pass to us. So what we can do here is we can get Entomb, Animate Dead. I think what we do is we grab Archon of Cruelty, because if we assume they have the Surgical Extraction, we don't want to take in Griselbrand yet. Okay, this is Entomb, Archon of Cruelty, Animate Dead targeting Archon. Right, and there's the Surgical Extraction. We didn't want them to take Griselbrand, that's why we did it with Archon. They can take a look at our hand. This gives us the ability to just draw lands and do it again, or draw Dark Ritual. But we had the read on their play there, right? Like, they mulliganed, not super aggressively, they did mulligan. They Force Will to Thoughtseize, they had to have something. Wow, that's an issue. Would have had to... Yikes. Okay, that's an issue entirely. We have to figure out what our solution to that is. Currently, I don't think we have a way to remove that. Let me take a real quick view at our sideboard to see if what we have for that sort of card. Nothing. So we have the ability to like win this game with hardcast Griefs. I don't think that will happen. I don't really want to stick around to find out. So what we'll do is we will, like, do we concede? Let me take a look at the sideboard. The sideboard, I just wanted to, like, do we bring the Thoughtseize? I think we did. Yes, we brought in that Thoughtseize. So we know Serenities aren't really the issue. Like, maybe, like, looks like their Graveyard Hate is Spell-based and the Containment Priest, right? It's not going to be Leyline of the Void, so we don't need to bring in the Serenities. Let's take a look at their hand, and then we're going to make some decisions about how long we want to stay in this. Right, like, this is just looking for information. Dovin's Veto. Another Containment Priest. Okay, Containment Priests are entirely their plan. Swords to Plowshares and Predict, we will concede. Alright, we're not going to beat the 2 containment priests here. Let's take a look at the sideboard. So, Dark Rits are coming back in, I think. So is Lotus Petal. Right, Dark Rits in, Lotus Petal in. They're just going to remove the Serenities because we don't think they're going to stop their graveyard hate. And we'll just run it like that. And our goal is to use Griefs to check their hand before they can cast the Griefs, and Unmask to check their hand before they can cast their Containment Priests. So it's going to have to be mulliganing for our discard suite. Alright, we're back. We're on the play as we would like to be. I mean, this has Thoughtseize. It has a bunch of reanimation spells, so it doesn't have anything to get into the graveyard. Let's try mulliganing once, see. This has Unmask, pitching Griselbrand to check their hand. They've kept on 7. I guess we'll see if they've kept on 7 actually. They are choosing to mulligan to 6. I don't think this does enough, so let's go to 5 and we'll stop there probably. So this is like the perfect hand, right? We need to put back 2 cards. What are we putting back? Ooh. We need the land. We're gonna pitch Reanimate. So we just go turn 1, go for the Exhume play, and like just skip our discard idea entirely. I guess we were skipping discard idea. We could have kept Reanimate, pitched Exhume, or Unmask. They mulligan to 5 cards. Let's keep this. And we just need to hope that they went for that they're expecting Container Priest to do it again and they didn't go for the surgical. Looks like they are beginning with 5 cards in hand. Let's try this. We do have to grab a basic swamp just in case, Wasteland, etc. Dark Writ, Entomb, grabbing Griselbrand, Exhume. Please don't have it. Ah, they had it. I mean, we had to kind of expect it. Like, we knew they were going to mulligan for something. We just had to hope they were mulliganing for their other graveyard hate that was a little bit worse. And that speed could win us the game. Which was a risky play, but it was what we chose to do. Yeah, that was yeah. And also, like, that would have lost to Forcible as well, which is a different issue, but like on 5 cards, pitching to force becomes worse. We're not out of it yet, though. We have the ability to draw into it. We know that their deck is a little bit slower considering the game 1. But once they stick a Containment Priest, I'm willing to concede. Caracas, interesting. Well, we don't have any Griselbrand, so that's fine, actually. It's actually really cool. We're going to do this now, because if they have Containment Priest and they get it into play, it's an issue, but if they think, oh, we'll just let it slide. Okay, our opponent has, for a minute, they had 1,000 hours, 1,000 minutes. They brainstorm hiding something, probably. They have swords to double swords preordained. I guess we're taking preordained and we're just gonna say we'll play a few Archons. Or like Archon takes 2 cards from hand, right? Like they have to swords it and they have to discard a card. Did we know about that plane? Yes. So we know about the planes there. That's gone. There's an argument that we should be like doing some deck thinning here. I don't think it matters too much. I'll start on the next like turn cycle, start doing deck thinning. Well, see, that's why we don't deck thin, because we need Faithless Looting. Oh, we don't want to play it now though. So we're gonna grab Badlands and we'll wait a turn to play Faithless Looting because we need a card in hand so we can actually keep a Reanimate if we draw that. Which means that fetch was unnecessary. Right, yep, pass. Let's see if anything from our opponent. No, they didn't have a land drop either. Let's start with Faithless Looting. I kind of expect this to be countered. They did not counter it. We do need to put Grief Archon into the graveyard. And now if they do have another surgical, we can just concede. Okay. Our opponent looks like they might just be passing through again, which is threatening more than anything. I think this is actually flashback Faithless Looting off Petal in order to start drawing, because we really need to just get to our reanimate spells here. Unmask and Entomb go to the graveyard, and we have Animate Dead next turn, if possible. Alright, we know that 2 of their cards in hand are Swords to Plowshares. Counterbalance. Interesting. Interesting. Draw for turn is Badlands. Let's go Badlands in case this deck like boards in a daze. I don't think they have it, but best to play around it. Then we'll go Archon, hopefully around Counterbalance. Okay, Counterbalance reveals Flooded Strand. Yo! Okay, so this comes into play. They swords it. Right, then they have to discard a card. We get to draw a card, gain 3, they lose 3. What do we get? And they discarded a Terminus, so they still have the other swords in hand. Right, and do we have like another Faithless Loot in the graveyard? We do not. So they have we know they have a swords in hand. And that Flood Strand was revealed. So they're going to draw Flood Strand for turn because they revealed it off counterbalance. They chose to play the Flood Strand. Like for a moment, I thought they played a different land. Ooh, swords is fine. Exhume. What do we have in hand? Like we can exhume getting back. Yeah, let's exhume just getting back Grief. Oh, never mind. They reveal. They predict. I was gonna say exhume getting back Grief is fine to me because it just gives us like the removal for that Swords to Plowshares anyways with the discard. Meanwhile, wasting an Archon, letting an Archon get swords is actually an issue for us. Okay, and we're gonna hold cards now for future Faithless Lootings. We need to have cards in hand to make Faithless Looting usable. Right? They predict that they're targeting themselves with predict. I assume revealing. I don't know what they chose. Oh, they say they mill Spell Pierce and draw a card. They named Island. Monastery Mentor. That's a clock from them. Let's see what we can get. Dark Ritual doesn't do anything here. Pass back to our opponent. Monastery Mentor is the threat on board, so that's going to be the thing we're contending with. So they did use up that predict they revealed, so I can remove it from the thing. And then they're attacking. We'll actually just drop that. We do have a bit of time, though, because we're at 26 life, so we have time to draw cards. Dark Ritual does not do it, though. We'll pass back to them. Okay. Let's see what our opponent has for us. Like, the question is, like, do they need to start making tokens to, like, close out the game quickly? Because I'm not saying the long game favors us, right? It favors them because they have counter spells. But like we have the explosive potential that if we can slip through like a threat, they need to answer it, which would gains us like 9 life with the Swords of Plowshare and the Archon trigger. That's just what we needed. Okay, let's see. What do they reveal? Reveal Flooded Strand off the counterbalance trigger. We will discard, I guess, Scrubland, Lotus Petal. And we're actually going to go Dark Writ and try to replay the Faithless Looting. Alright, so they're fetching to clear the Flood Strand that was revealed to counterbalance, so they can get another chance at countering this. Reveal Island. And let's just Faithless Looting again. And this is allowing us to keep up black mana, which was the important part. Or if we draw a Reanimate spell, we get a fatty into the bin. Thoughtseize and Thoughtseize. Fine. We're going to fire off some Thoughtseize and see like what our opponent has and if it's necessary for us to do multiple of these. Looks like this is Hardcast Force of Will. Interesting. Okay, that's fine. So that makes another token. They're definitely protecting something, so we're going to do this again. Because if they have Containment Priest and they chose that the best way to protect it wasn't to cast it but to do that, then I think we need to take it from them. Okay, let's see what we have. Terminus Swords to Plowshares. I think we take Swords to Plowshares, right? Like Terminus, they have to manipulate. Like they can cast it, but would also get rid of all their monks if we get an Archon to play, and it allows us to shuffle the deck with like an Entomb and get back that Archon, while Swords to Plowshares permanently removes an Archon from the game. Okay, we'll just pass back to our opponent. Again, they have us on a clock, right? And we know what their hand is. It's going to be Prismatic Vista Swords. Or sorry, Prismatic Vista Terminus. Let's see. It'd be very cool if they just played Terminus right now. I'd like that. Yeah, that is the Prismatic Vista we knew about. They're coming in for 3. Alright, so this means like Thoughtseize take the Terminus. I'm okay with that plan. Let's see if they have a way to. They have a way to manipulate their library. They can stop us from taking the Terminus. Containment Priest. Oh god. They should shuffle. Please shuffle. If they don't crack Prismatic Vista on our end step or before their draw step, we're going to concede. Because we can't beat that Containment Priest. Yep, and they drew it. That's going to be GG. And on to the match 5. See you there. Alright, we have turn 1 Griselbrand with this hand, so we will be keeping this. We are on the draw, but if we're not playing, it's a blue deck. Okay. This is suddenly an issue, because if this is... I was going to say we have to play around Days for Death Shadow, but now we have to play around losing the game. We need to draw Exhume, basically. They need to take Exhume here. Yep, they do take Exhume. I think they were considering taking Dark Ritual instead, possibly. Let's start with just Grief pitching Grief. And try to take a look at their hand a bit. Let's see what they got. They're at 5 cards in hand. Like, maybe we can disrupt their play a bit. Interesting. So I think we want to take... And Stubborn Denial is useful to take. I think we go Stubborn Denial, And then we just don't play a land this turn to play around Wasteland. Right, because if they waste us, it's an issue, and they know we only have one land. We'll do this. They have Brainstorm, Snuff Out, Wasteland, Death Shadow. They start with the Brainstorm, makes sense. Now, Snuff Out is a removal spell, but Stubborn Denial is just like a counterspell once they deal enough damage to themselves. So that 1 mana counterspell becomes an issue. Right, they do play Misty Rainforest and crack it. Let's see what they're going to do. I'm just taking a look at the most recent Legacy League Death Shadow deck. Right, they're going for a Ponder. So then it looks like their graveyard hate is going to be a Surgical Extraction, Grafdigger's Cage, and Dauthi Voidwalker. Which means we do need to bring in Wear and Tears in order to deal with the... Ooh, that's a good split though. Like Wear and Tears and like Serenities are good, but they only affect one thing. While as the Dauthi Voidwalkers we don't have any interaction with, but it has to be played later. Alright, let's start with Faithless Looting. Alright, our opponent cycled Street Wraith as well. Griselbrand's going to the graveyard, as well as... We can do Dark Writ, we can then Thoughtseize, we can Grief him. Ooh, we can just play a Grief here? No, we can't. We don't need Thoughtseize anymore. I was like, oh, we don't need Thoughtseize, we might as well just get rid of Grief. Unmask. We get rid of Unmask, and then we can Thoughtseize them. No, we can't. I played a land this turn. I was gonna say we can Thoughtseize them this way. I was concerned, I knew I wanted to do some more discard spells, but using Grief or the other guy just wastes cards. Okay. Thoughtseize is still in hand. I assume we see Wasteland here? Yep. And what we do is we probably go Scrubland, take their threat. Sorry, Thoughtseize, take their threat, I mean. We'll go Thoughtseize them. We're looking to take the Death Shadow so that we can have more time to develop. Wow! Forcible and Murktide Regent. Yeah. Murktide Regent is going to count as like an 8/8 currently. Death Shadow is only a 2/2, so we'll take Murktide Regent, I guess. Yikes. Okay, let's see. Yeah, so that's the Death Shadow that we expected to see. So know that they have a not Murktide Regent, they have a Force of Will in hand, which is the new issue. Unmask them. Pitching Griselbrand. Alright, we're going to draw a discard spell, or sorry, a reanimation spell, and we need to be able to keep them off counterspelling that. And that's why we need to unmask. Right, we really have a Scalding Tarn, and that's it in hand. They can fetch and shock, make a 5/5 Death Shadow here. Yeah. So let's see if they have like Murktide in hand as well, or like Ponders to find it. Like we didn't have something there. Serra's Emissary doesn't help yet. This deck has to run a Brazen Borrower. There's no way they wouldn't. This makes this a 9/9, sorry, an 8/8. Each fetch land is 3. Oh, they chose not to shock it in. Interesting. Maybe they only have 3 shocks, or maybe they just didn't have it. That's very funny. I wonder. So we can get... they don't have a Death Shadow in graveyard, so we can't reanimate Death Shadow. Griselbrand would kill us. So we can get... Murktide Regent would also kill us, right? Yeah. We can get Street Wraith, or we can get Grief. And we die if we don't reanimate something here. Let's get Grief, we'll chump block, and we'll see what they have in hand. But I think we're dying here. They have Daze, so we will die. We technically get one more turn, but we will die at that point, because we won't be able to draw, like, Exhume. We'll concede, just go to sideboard real quick. Alright, now sideboard for this deck, we know that they're going to be running 1 Grafdigger's Cage, which means Wear and Tear is good, right? We know they're only running 1, and they've split everything else. That means we need Thoughtseize in. Magus is good considering the way they have to fetch. So it's actually... there's part that says, oh, well, they're just going to get Surgical instead of Grafdigger's Cage. I'm going to cut 1 Serra's Emissary, and I'm going to cut 1 Dark Ritual. We're all just going to accept that this is okay. They didn't have much sideboarding to do, apparently, or at least they went very quickly. So this does nothing, right? Like, it allows us to brief them, but nothing with it. This goes Thoughtseize turn 1, turn 2, Entomb Reanimate with an Unmask as well. This sounds great. We have to put back one thing. I'm thinking we put back second Reanimates, or we can put back the Unmask and hope that turn 2 we can get a buy without it. I think I actually put back Badlands and we go for basic Swamp. Right, this will give us multiple chances over multiple turns to do what we need to do. They've mulliganed to 5 cards. I swear if they're running ley lines. They've mulliganed to 5, we don't see a ley line. Alright, basic swamp and then Thoughtseize then. I expect to see surgical extraction here. No, we see force of will and him to Turok. Alright, let's take force of will. And then next turn we don't need to unmask yet because they're not going to be able to him us. Alright, we're looking at 2 lands. Murktide Regent, him to Turok. That's going to be the Underground Sea that they showed us. That's fine. And we drew the land for turn. Alright, so let's start with Unmask, pitching a Reanimate. Dismiss all these real quick. Awesome. Now we take Stubborn Denial here, and then we can go Entomb, Reanimate, getting Griselbrand. We could get. I kind of want to grab Archon instead because we're dropping our life total so low. Oh god, it feels wrong, but like it's going to take 1 card out of their hand. Drawing 7 off Griselbrand is risky because it gets bounced. It's more of an issue if we're that low on life. So this is what we're going to do. I'm doing Archon. We're going to gain a little bit of life immediately. They're going to lose some, and then we're going to make them discard something, which I assume is him to Turok. Alright, we drew Faithless Looting. They discard him to Turok as we expected. Now we'll pass. Right, and now we are gaining advantage over them with the hymns, or sorry, and they concede. Yep, that's what we expected. We didn't see anything new for the deck, but let's just take it in the sideboarding. Probably keep it as is. Like that discard package is what got us through there, so we'll keep running it like that. And we could bring Dauthi Voidwalker to stop them from being able to Murktide Regent, or maybe if they have a Gurmag Angler, but I don't think that's good enough. I think we're looking to race here. So let's just run it back as is and see how it goes. Alright, this has Thoughtseize them, and then we have Entomb and Animate Dead. I think I'm going to try this as is. And they're fetching for something. Probably Thoughtseize here. Yeah, that's Thoughtseize. So that makes, I think they take Entomb then, right? But you're looking at taking Entomb or Animate Dead here. And I think it's debatable which one you want to take, right? Like, if you take Animate Dead, then it's risky. You know, I have like 11 payoffs left, right? I have Reanimates, I have Animate Dead, I have Exhumes. But if you take Entomb, I have Entomb and I have. Wow, you did take the Animate Dead. I didn't think that was correct. Like, it allows you to run into Faithless Looting. Like, Faithless Looting becomes the issue if you don't take Entomb. Or if you don't take Animate Dead. Okay, they daze the Thoughtseize. I don't care. We kind of knew that was a possibility. And now we're checking to see, like, do they play Wasteland here? Like, what's their plan? Thoughtseize again. So now they're taking the Entomb. Okay. Interesting note. If we were going to Entomb there, I was probably going to grab Archon again. Not for the same reason as last time, though, but more because I didn't want Surgical taking both Griselbrands from hand. Play Badlands Return so we can't get dazed. Faithless Looting. I mean, we can discard a Griselbrand and a Grief and then pitch one. It doesn't matter what we pitch here, right? We'll keep that land for Wasteland, and let's just cast the Grief, exiling Griselbrand. Now this is where we see they have Surgical Extraction. Okay, and we'll let this die first. It doesn't matter to me. Okay, let's see what they have. We're looking at Brainstorm, Death Shadow, Stubborn Denial. So Brainstorm is good here to find their Force of Will. Stubborn Denial we can play around as long as they don't have Death Shadow. Let's just take the Death Shadow. Like, let's say you have to find a threat and an answer. Yeah, they start with the Brainstorm, so they're going to be able to sculpt their hand a little bit after we did some Thoughtseizing. Right, so that was like the argument to take Brainstorm, which is they're able to sculpt with the fetch land plus the Brainstorm. I like the idea that by taking the Death Shadow, we give ourselves time. Ooh, they have the Wasteland. Thanks. Right, let's see what we draw. Reanimate. Oh, dang. That's pretty nice. Yeah, Reanimate Griselbrand here. we can play around Days, we can play around Stubborn now. We can't play around both. They did have the Force, though. Okay. Well, that's what happens. We have Faithless Looting still, so I think we're doing alright, right? Like, we're drawing for lands, we're drawing for reanimation spells. Okay, they have that Floodstrand we saw previously. We have a Polluted Delta. So we don't want to Faithless Looting now. We need to have a card in hand first. Because we need to be able to keep a spell. So they're having... Interesting. Let's go basic and basic, honestly. Well, let's go basic and Badlands. And we'll flashback Faithless Looting. And if they want to Stubborn Denial Faithless Looting, that's fine. That's like a card for not a card. Alright, let's keep Thoughtseize in hand, because if we draw like a reanimation spell next turn, we can Thoughtseize first, check their hand for the counter spell, and then reanimate our Griselbrand. Okay. They are fetching, so they're down to 7. Down to 5. Okay, Death Shadow is a big issue. But if we get Griselbrand, then we have lethal on board. Unmask. Check their hand. We need to make sure there's no counter spell for next turn. So we're gonna go to 6. They attack us. We go to 8. Okay, we take Stubborn Denial here because otherwise it's a free counter spell. We're gonna go to 8, so we're on a 2-turn clock. So we have to draw the card to reanimate next turn. And what do they have? They have the Hymn, right? So we knew they had that. That Unmask doesn't help us there. Okay. The Reanimate doesn't do it anymore. We need Animate Dead. Like, we need something here. Archon. No, that doesn't do it. They have lethal on board. We will concede. Pack it up. Alright, that was match 5. Let's go back to the deck list. I'll give you my final thoughts. Alright, final thoughts on the deck list. Let's just go on the deck, right? The list is strong, right? We know that this is the correct way to build Reanimator, or like an established way to build Reanimator. The issue is, currently we're dealing with a lot of counter spells and a lot of graveyard hate in the metagame. So I think what we're looking for now is that maybe the pivot isn't to play Mardu Reanimator. Maybe the deck list, maybe it's time to start playing blue-black Reanimator, right? With like the show and tell splash, so you can get around graveyard hate. Right, that gets you around graveyard hate, that gets you past counter spells, so you can run days, you can run your own Force of Wills. So I think next time I play Reanimate, I'm going to be playing a Dimir list or some sort of blue-black X deck, right? I think that's the move. I think Faithless Looting is obviously very good and stuff, right? Like Entomb, Faithless Looting, very good in this deck. Those are necessary components, but I think like we're just losing so hard to blue decks that have counter spells, and like once some of the stuff sticks, like Ponder and Preordain to find our like answers to the graveyard hate sounds pretty useful to me. All right, that's my final thoughts on the list. So I think overall, it's Reanimator. It's fun. It's good. Recommend it. If you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching. Consider giving the video a like or subscribing to the channel. Actually, that helps me a lot. Thank you very much. Peace.